Halloween Horror Nights 29 is well underway, and it is less than 2 weeks until we get to experience it for ourselves. So we thought the opportunity to sit down and talk to someone who knows Halloween Horror Nights a little bit more than we do. So we would like to thank Blake Braswell for taking the time to speak to us instead of watching his beloved Arsenal beat Eintracht Frankfurt at the moment. So Blake, welcome back for a bonus episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, we're up 1-0. I think we're going to do okay in this one.
I can't believe they've dragged you in while the football's on. It's shocking.
Terrible.
It's okay. I was working anyway. We're hard at work on HHN 30 already,
True.
so you know.
Oh, shall we talk? Let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. I'll tell you everything we were just talking about. And then I'll give my ID over to my friends here and walk myself out.
It sounds like a plan to me. So going back to this year, let's stick to the rules.
Yes.
This year, it looks to be a phenomenal year, and we are so excited to be getting to experience it. I mean, it's all we're talking about at the moment. Now, Blake, we know you're the overlord of scare zones, so let's talk about those first.
I'm going to get that business card.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely.
Overlord of
Yes.
scare zones.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, this year's scare zones are incredibly varied, which is awesome.
It is.
Now, we've got an arcade at the front of the park, which I'm looking forward to. Zombieland Double Tap in New York. Again, looking forward to that.
That's right.
And Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, which is in front of Fast and Furious. And then there's Vikings Undead in Central Park and Vanity Ball in Hollywood.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then our lovely roaming hoarded chainsaws.
Oh, of course. Who could
course.
forget
Well.
them?
They tend to wait for me outside of the restrooms, I'll be honest.
Yes.
One of the zones that I am most looking forward to this year is Vikings Undead in Central Park. For various reasons, The Central Park area is always absolutely gorgeous. I always love it there. This year looks like it's going to be no exception. Now, we know that you're history fans, as am I. So it must have been awesome to work on the brutal theme of Vikings.
Oh, yeah. And actually, if you get a chance to go during the day before the night falls, the zone looks beautiful in the daytime, too. It's awesome. With Vikings Undead, the idea was I wanted to, both on the scenic design, on the character design, costume design, it was go back to the original historical looks and ideals first, and then put a Halloween Horror Night spin on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't want to kind of start too quick in that realm, lest it start looking like fantasy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I wanted to be more on the having all roots in the real side of things.
Awesome.
And it's great because our audio designer, Anthony Smith, he is of Norse descent, and so he went bananas. He actually composed the entire soundtrack for the Scare Zone. So there's a lot, and everything was done with looking at actual Norse mythology.
Cool.
He's like, wanted to make sure, for example, he gets particular wolf howls in there, and one of them for him is Fenris, the wolf that would, that features prominently in Norse mythology. And so there's a lot of elements like that. I had looked at a bunch of things about actual tortures and stuff that the Vikings did, and their stuff is real gross.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, there's no need to invent anything. Just do what they did.
Yep.
The one we're doing in particular was called the Blood Eagle, where they would keep someone alive and just thinly slice their back and peel it open, and then take a little chisel and crack each rib open and split them open like wings.
Yes,
Lovely.
I am well aware of that. That's one of my favourites. Sorry, I'm a Vikings fan.
Okay there, Lee. Watch out for yourself,
Yes.
buddy.
I thought exactly the same.
He's
there, Blake.
known for years. I'm only going for ideas.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that area is always gorgeous, and it fits. This type of zone fits so well in that area because it's quite closed and condensed. But it looks like over the last few years that zone's expanded a little bit more up. Like last year with the church that was in there, and the same with this year with the sort of Viking longship sections and stuff. It is awesome.
Yeah, and what allows you to play with like the idea of nature mingling in. When you think about Vikings and everything too, you think of like the beautiful scenery of Norway and things like that. So to tie the nature into it, and we pulled a few creatures like Jontar, which are basically big ogre type things from Norse mythology, as well as some tree spirits that are in the zone. So they kind of blend in with the forest as well.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Now we'll move on to the one I'm originally wasn't looking that forward to, but the more I have immersed myself in it, I cannot wait, and that is Hellbilly Deluxe. Because I'll be honest, before it was announced for Horror Nights, I hadn't seen a single Rob Zombie film, I had not listened to a single Rob Zombie song. Now I am completely immersed in it. That album is awesome. Being a massive metal fan, I don't know why I've never listened to it, but it's fantastic. And I know it's a very different zone because it's based on a music album. It's something I don't think you guys have done before, actually. And I know as far as that zone goes, you've really dug deep into like actually using the album notes to pull elements from for the zone. Coming up with a scare zone like that, Blake, how much different was it coming at like a music-based zone than it would compare to sort of any other zone you've created before?
Yeah, well, when actually Mike Aiello first talked to me about doing Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe, he literally just said to me, I'm thinking it might be neat to have a scare zone that is Rob Zombie Hellbilly Deluxe. Go look into that. And so that was literally like all I had. And yeah, like with certain films or properties or our original stories, you are literally, kind of telling a story. And in the houses, you do get to go like beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
Scare zones are a little more broad story because you need people they can enter from any angle, right? They've got to be able to understand what they see as soon as they see it.
Yeah.
So with Rob Zombie, what do you do? And the album is awesome from beginning to end. I knew that, our BGM is set because just hit play. And then we started looking like what can we do in the zone, and the designer, a guy named Dylan Colath, he's actually a really big Rob Zombie fan, and this is his first year designing anything for us in the streets. Like last year he did Stranger Things and some other houses. He did like The Fallen a couple of years ago, but this is his first time doing the streets, and he's done an awesome job. We packed more stuff into the San Francisco area than we've ever had before. And one of my favorite touches is when you walk into the zone, there are huge archways that when you look at it, it's the outward side of the album itself. So it's like you're walking literally into the album.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I just watched, all the music videos. And the thing is, as soon as I started watching them, I said, oh, we're fine for a scare zone. But all these creatures that Rob Zombie would put in these videos he directed they look like things we would have had in Halloween Horror Nights in years past. They're perfect, like the Super Beast or the Dracula robot, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So we just got to go bananas with our costume and makeup team, and then with Dylan, it really does feel like you're in. I don't want to say like a concert's the wrong thing, because a concert's more you're sitting back and you're watching and enjoying. But this is you are literally kind of immersed in it. We got tons of flame units. We got the videos being projected on the walls. There's scaffolding. You can actually hang out and sit in the Dragula car and take your picture, with it. There's the as you said in the album art, there's like Rob Zombie's throne he's got. We rebuilt that for a photo op, which is something that's kind of new for us too. We have a couple of photo ops, and those are things we hadn't really intentionally set up before. Obviously, people would take pictures with some of our scenic and what have you, but we actually aimed to have some photo opportunities to be within the album itself.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm just even more excited about it now.
I was trying to get you into Rob Zombie for years.
I know.
You're welcome.
You can thank Blake.
Well, yes. Well, yeah, thank Blake.
And Mike.
Now, there you go.
Yeah. I was right again. Now, I know I said that Vikings is one of the ones I'm looking most forward to, but it is really difficult to pick out just one of these zones this year because they all look amazing. Zombieland Double Tap, though, is one that we are really excited to get into. Now, we know that that area has a lot of Easter eggs from the first movie, and we assume from Double Tap also, which isn't released here yet, is it?
Yeah, we don't get it for another 3 weeks, I think.
Now, we've heard that the limo that resides in the zone is an actual prop from the new movie.
That is right. That limo is from Zombieland Double Tap. It featured prominently in that film.
That is so cool.
Yeah, we were very, very excited to be able to get that.
That is awesome. Yeah, so it must be great to work with an IP like Zombieland, as there are so many thematic elements. Is that the right term? Yeah. That can be and have been put into a scare zone. Now, are there any other actual movie props scattered throughout the event?
For Zombieland, there's nothing else from Zombieland that's from the film as far as like an actual prop used in the film, but it allowed us we leaned heavily into the first film, Zombieland, especially for our stage moments we have where we actually have the different heroes, Tallahassee, Wichita, Columbus, taking out zombies, because working on this zone, it's very different from other zombie properties we've worked on, where part of the fun of those zombie films and TV shows are like the zombies taking out the people. Yeah. Whereas in Zombieland, it's really celebrated taking out the zombies.
Yeah.
So my background, my first jobs professionally working as a director was as a fight choreographer for stage and film. So I'd done that for years. And as soon as I was here with Halloween Horror Nights, I knew I wanted to get some some theatrical violence, as it were, up on the stages or up in our streets somewhere in the event. And so this IP allowed for that. It's like a perfect marriage to be able to put those two things in, and reenact some of those moments that are in the film. And we do have a couple of other Easter eggs from Double Tap. There are a couple of characters floating around. The only hint I'll give is there's a photo op over there for Zombieland Double Tap, and just keep an eye on some of the characters over there. You might see them pop back up later. And then we also, the cast is, because Zombieland is such a good film. It's so funny. I think pound for pound, I don't think Woody Harrelson's ever been funnier in a film.
Yeah.
I just laugh the entire time he's on that screen. The cast really has taken a hold of that, being scary and aggressive and being a little out there too. Awesome. Some notable highlights are we had a guy, he's a zombie in his jogging suit. Obviously he got bit while he was out for a run. Well, we hit our opening night and I walk out in the street and I see this guy, coming out, and this character, this zombie, is literally running like old school jogging style, with the hands real tight up next to the chest, like you're like almost if you were like wearing the weights. And he's like, and then as people go by him, he's like biting at him as he's like doing the last thing he remembered before he became a zombie or whatever. Awesome. And there's just stuff like that within the zone that's so great, where they're being absolutely terrifying and then hysterical at the same time, which is that's the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoke to you before, Blake. You know how much I love theatrics in scare attractions, and it's there in spades this year. It really is.
Well, yeah, my background's theater, so they brought me in. I started shoving a lot of stuff on stages and things we could do, Well,
that makes me very happy. Right, so the last two scare zones are an arcade and Vanity Ball. Vanity Ball, again, has that theatrical element. From what I've seen, I haven't tried to watch too much, but an arcade is an interesting one, because for me, that entrance zone usually isn't somewhere I spend a lot of time, but this one looks awesome, and there's some amazing elements in that. Now, how did you come up with that theme for an arcade, Blake, and where did you get those awesome LED chainsaws?
Oh, right. Well, don't worry. The roaming chainsaws also have LED chainsaws.
Awesome.
They're awesome. That's our awesome lighting department partnering with our effects crews make that happen. So you actually said it. It actually sometimes ends up being a zone. It's kind of short that people kind of burn through because some of the popular houses are near there, so they're rushing on their way. So I said, look, this year I've got to do something that I want to catch people and surprise them, and it needs to be a huge statement immediately. And of course, one of the things we do with the streets is, during the day we also have parades and such that go through the streets. So I can't just have a big piece of scenic sitting in the middle of there. And we started playing with this idea of I threw out this idea of thinking of this society or whatever. If you think about post-apocalyptic, and the only thing that these people found was a working, functioning 80s arcade. They built this shrine and culture to that, basically. And so we lined the streets with these oversized arcade or arcade cabinets, and it was one of those things that was a little frightening in its concept, because when you just saw the drawing, it was very plain looking. It was because we were partnering so hard with our lighting team, and we knew that lighting was going to be a big part of this. And our lighting designer, Justin Lukowitz, he said that hands down this is going to be the most the coolest and some of the most fun lighting that we've ever done for Halloween. And he told me not to say it publicly, but I feel like I can say that publicly now, because I think he did it. And so lining the cabinets with all these neon LEDs, having the hazers going, so we've got a laser ceiling underneath it, so it actually kind of encapsulates the zone into this tight little hallway of neon lights and slashers. The characters light up and glow, their weapons light up and glow. And it's kind of this whole, instead of hiding people to scare you, you see them coming, but then it's actually the one to your left or your right that kind of a thing. That zone's a ton of fun. I wanted that feeling back in the 80s where, before they made arcades all family friendly and safe looking, I knew them in my little hometown mall. It was like a dark, black little cave that as you approached, you heard all these, cacophony of arcade sounds. And when you looked inside, the only thing you could see was people's faces illuminated by the screen or the neon signs that were on the games and stuff. And that was the vibe that I wanted to, evoke with everything that was in the zone. And between the sound design, lighting design, and scenic design, and costume design, I think that paid off in spades.
Awesome.
Because I've tried not to look at too much, but the bits I have seen, it looks amazing.
I am so excited for that now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a very fun zone. And I've been trying to get laser ceilings for a few years now, so I'm very excited to get my laser ceilings in.
I'm excited that there's going to be one. I love laser ceilings, so yes.
Tick that off your bucket list now.
Yes, I can. Right, let's move on to the houses. Now, I want to talk about my most anticipated house. Now, Blake, as head of Scare Zones, you must be so proud to see one of your babies from the last year. It's transitioned from being a scare zone to a house, and that is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Seriously.
Yeah, super excited to see all the clowns back. And
Me
we
too.
actually have a little bitty, we got our little clown element still in the streets this go round. You will see when you come experience the house. So yeah, I mean, to see the clowns come back to life, to see some of the things that obviously we couldn't put in, we couldn't do the inside of the ship on the streets. So to be able to see what Charles has done and get the interior of the ship, it's fantastic. And the Kyoto brothers, the creators of Killer Clowns from Outer Space, they came down for opening, and they were elated at everything they saw. It's a blast.
I was absolutely gutted to not do the scare zone, but I'm happy.
Yeah, you do not know how happy you have made Tracy Blake.
You get 2 doses, right? You get the house, but you're also going to get them in the Halloween Marathon of Mayhem Lagoon show.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot
a lot of clowns.
wait. No, I'm so excited. I've even made cotton candy cocoon earrings to wear.
Yes. Perfect.
So
Right.
yes,
Let's step away from Killer Clowns.
Sorry. Okay.
Blake, you and I know the one house that I am looking forward to more than anything this year is Ghostbusters. When that was announced,
I shed
tears.
A lot of people.
Like anybody who grew up in the 80s has an affection for that film, and if you haven't, then there's a problem with you.
Oh yeah, you can quote every line.
Yeah, tell me it's everything I want it to be.
It is. I mean, like the best review I could give of that house, and it's and I get to. I help out a lot with, throughout the year. I'll go in the houses and stuff, see where things are on development. But I purposely stayed out of this one and said, I'm just going to be a fan. I'm not going in this house until it is finished and we have got characters in there bringing it to life. So I waited till very late rehearsal to finally actually go in.
Wow.
It's exactly what you want, because when you're making a house like that, it's very tough because that movie is so iconic. There's things that you have to see, but then also the lines. I mean, people quote. I mean, I don't want to say I quote Ghostbusters daily, but every other day. I mean, there's a lot of quotable lines in there.
Yeah.
So it was figuring out, well, how do you put those lines in with scares and things? And it's really awesome. Charles had these, we caught triggers that make these scare moments of these sounds, whatever, from these creatures coming at you. But then afterwards, when that's done, you might hear those lines and stuff that you equate so strongly with the film. You're screaming, you're laughing, and the best part is, literally, I like to sit outside of the exit of that house and watch people come out. They just come out with the biggest smiles on their faces.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah, I have heard that the line, once the music kicks in the line, it's like a party atmosphere at that point. That everyone starts singing and dancing to the theme. Yeah.
Everyone is so happy.
I cannot wait.
Not long. Right, I'm dragging you away now. Step away from the Ghostbusters. So yes, go through the other IPs for this year. We have the awesome Stranger Things returning with seasons 2 and 3. The downright dirty Rob Zombie's House of 1,000 Corpses. The creepy Jordan Peele's Us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking forward to these. Classic Universal Monsters. Absolutely. I'm there for that one with my skirt.
Well, actually, I will say that's the Universal Monsters, because it's not classic. It's our spin on the Universal Monsters. So that one is, mostly if you thought of like if we made the movie today, right? It's kind of like what we did. And that house is really cool in how it transitions from monster to monster to monster.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Yes.
Because that's one I was kind of like, and I've watched all the Blake. I'm sorry, you're going to hate me. I've watched all the classic monsters. They don't do it for me, I'm afraid.
It's about context of the time.
I know,
period.
that's what everyone keeps telling me.
I keep saying it as I keep beating him, but it's not going in.
Yeah, that's why they stayed for so long, because nothing like that had been done when it came out,
That's it.
But just wait. I think you will be pleasantly surprised by then what you experience in the house.
Cool.
Good. I'm looking forward to that. Now, many people on the internet have complained that they feel Horror Nights is going soft. But with the inclusion of Rob Zombie's House of 1,000 Corpses, let's face it, that film is crazy, gory, just a little bit sick and twisted. So surely its inclusion must dispel those thoughts.
Oh, yeah. Well, as we say, it's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
So there's two words there, Halloween horror.
Exactly.
And they encompass, a ton of stuff. And I think also people forget, the original Halloween film barely has any gore.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's about, being scary. So, we're doing everything that encompasses all of that. But yeah, if there was any worry that we weren't going to do gore, between 1,000 corpses, my blood eagle sacrifices over in the Viking zone, plus I've got my vanity ball crazy surgeries happening on the street. Nothing like watching some entrails get pulled out for family fun entertainment.
Awesome.
Weekly occurrence here.
So, we got that stuff covered.
Awesome.
Perfect.
We're covered.
I, for one, am not one of the people who's complained about
No,
it.
not at all.
No.
Like, I cannot
We're just
wait.
happy to have it.
I cannot wait to get in House of a
Oh,
Thousand
no.
Corpses, because that film is, the 10-year-old me would have been very excited watching it back then.
Your parents were weird.
If you're a big fan of it, then you're going to love that house. People that are in it too love it, and they fulfill those characters to the T.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Right, so we'll quickly move on to the, everyone generally says that the fan favourites every year are the original houses, and this year, I'll be honest, they look fantastic.
Yeah.
Like Yeti, Terror of the Yukon is up there. I think Depths of Fear is the one I'm probably most looking forward to. Graveyard Games, and then Nightingale's Blood Pit. As we've said previously, this year's event's massively diverse. We've got a sequel house, a pseudo spin-off, and 2 new houses. Do you know where the ideas for those came from for this year, Blake? And which is your favourite out of them?
Patrick, for the Nightingale's Blood Pit, he's a big he's a big history fan as well. So he was looking at a history bent, and they were trying to figure out what to do, and he was thinking of gladiatorial and stuff, and then it got thrown out, well, hey, we have seen the Nightingales in the time period we've done prior. What if this is a story that's earlier about the Nightingales? And so then, it's all the places beneath the Colosseum that are now just like overrun with those Nightingales. So if you're a history fan, again, that's another great one, full of history nods, as well as all the just tons of attacks. It's a very claustrophobic house, that one.
And it's perfect as well, because you've got like your Norse mythology in Vikings, and then Roman gladiatorial things go hand in hand,
Yes.
really.
History
Yeah,
buff
and then
happy.
I will say right now, the house is the most beautiful, and I mean that literally. Is Graveyard Games. They designed this sort of New Orleans style cemetery where this story would take place, and it's beautiful as well as scary in there. It's that house just looks fantastic.
Because they're all really different, aren't they, the originals this year? Like Yeti, I can't wait, because it has that sort of, from what I expect, that sort of snowy
Tundra.
thing going on. Like you say, and Depths of Fear is an underwater thing, which I've never done a scare attraction sort of based on the one. I'm really excited for
How
that.
long can you hold your breath
wait.
for?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite thing that we've gotten for a response is what you've been saying, is between the houses and scare zones, everyone's saying the event has a ton of variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even then, the Academy Villains show with its story that's happening in sort of a themed, almost Victorian era kind of style with the way it's done. There's a ton of different stuff going on in the event. There's a little something for everybody, basically.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yes.
I will say that both our kids are extremely gutted that they are not coming this year. We're the bad parents that brought our 11-year-old when we came over for 2015, and she coped with it better than our 16-year-old did at the time.
We are those parents. We're not taking them this time.
Hey, I can't say anything. I had my, I think, 10-month-old at the time watching the Dancing Vampires last year at Vamp 85.
Awesome.
She really likes dance.
It's the way to go.
I was doing a baby swap with my wife, and so there was a little time where I had her on the streets. It was still daylight, but she just was clapping along to the dancing.
Oh, that's
Vampires.
lovely. She is gorgeous. Okay, we could literally talk about Horror Nights with you all day, all night long, Blake, but we do need to let you go, sadly. But before we do, we need to talk about the 2 shows this year. We've just been briefly mentioned Academy of Villains there, and the new Halloween Marathon of Mayhem Lagoon show, which our other host Darren assures us is life-changing. That's
a quote. Yeah.
Yes, that is also a big
Yeah,
claim.
that Lagoon show is fantastic.
Good. How much do you think the shows add to the event?
It's a tremendous amount. What Academy of Villains has done with Altered States this year is, it's such a good show. I love last year's show. It had this story element. This comes back into it again, but some of the different performers they have brought in for this year just take the show up to a whole new level. I mean, when you see the bone breaker, as they call him, the guy that can do all the contortions and move around
yeah.
the hole, you think you've seen that? Oh, jeez, that's just
Okay,
wild
if
to
you're
watch.
making
Yeah.
those noises.
Like, we haven't seen Academy of Villains. I've watched brief videos from the last couple of years, but I can't wait to see them for the first, because everybody raves about them.
Yes.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll watch a show, like maybe say you'll watch their third show and be amazed that, one, they've already done it twice and they're about to do it a few more times. Their energy is just crazy.
Yeah, we have a friend who I'm pretty sure she went to every single show last year. That's how much he likes them, and that's crazy.
There's a few of them. And I would say, like, what I like, their energy level, Jason Horn's a show director for us that worked on that, and he also worked on the Lagoon show, the Halloween Marathon of Mayhem, and it also has that very intense high energy level. It's like a love letter to Halloween, but it's a very intense one with a high energy. And that's kind of a theme around the park as far as Halloween's concerned this go round. You should be worn out when you're done. That's
We
the
will
plan.
be. I mean, we haven't seen the Lagoon show, the new one. It was still cinematic spectacular at the time. I still get them mixed up. So we haven't seen the whole new sort of the spray projection thing. So that'll be the first time we get to see that. And like you say, Darren, our other host, says it is the best theme park show he has seen.
Oh, yep. All right, I agree.
Blake, it's been a pleasure to talk to you as always. Like I said, we could sit and talk to you all day long, and we can't wait to experience it in a couple of weeks. It is literally a couple of weeks away, and I am.
We can talk face to face in a couple of weeks.
That is the best thing. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
But before we let you go, because we know you've got plenty of other stuff to do, we need to let you go back to Halloween Horror Nights 30, actually.
Yes.
Because I can't wait to see what you guys are going to cook up for that year. Can you give our listeners a little hint or a little Easter egg or a hidden detail to look out for at this year's event that you haven't shared before?
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Keep an eye out for a fun Easter egg that's in Zombieland. It's a character. He looks like a zombie, but he's just trying to blend in with the rest of the zombies. And if you watch him for a little bit, he is hysterical. Well, that's all I'll say.
Okay. Oh, I love things like that.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So yes, people, go to Halloween Horror Nights. We'll be there. It's going to be the best time ever until next year.
Yes.
Blake, it's been a pleasure as always.
It has.
Really appreciate you taking time to come and talk to us.
Absolutely. It's always great chatting with you two.
And I'm sure we will get to talk to you again next year for Mardi Gras. Because we're also coming out for that.
Woohoo!
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.